Bases dropped, and yeah, we're packed. Do you remember in Die Hard 2 where Fred Dalton Thompson was the chief air traffic controller at the Denver airport? And they were trying to get to the bottom of what was going on. And his solution was to stack them, pack them, and rack them. And that's where we are today. Just to give you an idea. First half hour, we're going to try to get through as much in the day as humanly possible. 9:30, Kaylor Hodges. It's the last Thursday of the month. We catch up with Kaylor, find out what's going on in the USL Championship, USL League One, and a team that's been drawing a lot is now starting to win matches. And their head coach got some recognition for all of that coming up in just a little bit. 9:30 Eastern. 10 o'clock, our buddy Nino Torres from Goal TV. He'll be on to talk Copa, about his beloved Peru, anything else that's on his mind. 10:30, 10:35, last half hour of the show. Niko Moreno, our buddy from Pulso Sports and the Soccer Bar. He's going to go over everything on his mind involving Copa, involving Major League Soccer, involving all points in between. We got stuff to talk about in Seattle, where there are some stars that are kind of bent out of shape, and it looks like they may not be playing. It's an internal matter, at least at the moment it is. So it's an internal matter. So we'll talk about that with Niko and find out what's going on in Seattle and all points and places in between. And so it looks like Dax and Man in Blazer had a decent time last night. Saw the picture with the American Outlaws, and it looked like a fun time was had by all. I imagine that there was a decent amount of liquid that was consumed along with it. So Dax loves Atlanta, according to Abby. Yeah, and Dax, very cool dude. And so Man and Blazer and Dax McCarty last night to discuss what's going on with Atlanta United, men's national team, all that kind of stuff. Remember. It is a 6 o'clock kick tonight at Mercedes-Benz. And I know that there are some who have tickets they're trying to get rid of, some that are trying to get tickets. Morning, Alex. Connect with one another in the network. Look out for your friends and all of your fans. First and foremost, get there early. Getting there early might be, one of the easier things to say. I think it's like literally 6 o'clock. That's what they do. They don't mess around. They do the countdown and like right at 6. That's why you have all the pregame stuff going on, because Tom's asking about what time the actual kickoff is. I think it's legitimately right at 6 o'clock. So get there early, get in the building, make sure that you know your alternate routes to get home. Because of something called a presidential debate that's going on in the heart of downtown, do not go through the heart of downtown to get home. Go out and up or out and down. Do not hit the connector north, and don't do that. Do not do that. Crash Clark, thanks to Abby's giving us all the deets. Avoid I-75 from 2:30 to 4:30 because of Biden's arrival at Dobbin, set to arrive at 3:25. Drivers can expect a rolling roadblock down I-75. State Patrol shutting down the South Loop, Delk, Windy Hill, and others. And Trump arrives at 5:30. So that's what you're staring at. Get out of 75. Get out of that range. Or find your surface streets and go wide. Go zero gap. Outside of left edge, right edge. Figure it out. Get away from 75 in the middle of the afternoon. Get away from 75 on the way home. Get away from downtown north on the way home. You can find other ways to get there. Do it. Because the Trump arrival at 5:30 is going to be at Hartsfield-Jackson. So you have the president coming from the north, Donald Trump coming from the south, and it's all going to be critical mass, 5:30 to 6:30. Donald Trump coming from Hartsfield during rush hour, heading north. Get in early, get there. That's all I can say. I cannot emphasize this enough. That might be a reason that you might have folks getting in a little slowly when it comes to traffic and travel and all that, but leave work, come up with a great excuse, dog ate my homework. But honestly, all you've got to do is sit there and say traffic, and your boss should understand. So traffic from the north heading south, starting at about 3. Just say 3. but be ready by 2:30. From the south, right during rush hour, heading north. It is a conflagration of traffic-based events that happens to be in downtown Atlanta as the Copa is entertaining 70,000 folks. Know your streets, know your surface streets, and consult with your computer-activated directions people. Get in early, find a way home, left edge, right edge. Go around left tackle, go around right tackle. Don't go 34 wham on this. It will not work. You're going to have to go end around. You've been prepared. You've been prepared. Oh, there should absolutely be consternation. Tom is asking if there will be consternation. I believe that there will be consternation. Gnashing of teeth, wringing of hands, consternation in general. And that's the other part in this. Exhibit your patience. Find your patience in your glove box or bring it from the spare room at your in your casa or in your place of work. Bring your patience today, especially this afternoon if you're trying to drive, period. Bring your patience. Morning to the West Coast, best coast. Abby says the actual debate starts after Copa. Debate starts at 9. Game ends at 8. Might help if I actually, I don't know, send the link to all of our friends here. Good work by me. So, John's a moron. John's trying to get everything squared away this morning. So, how about this, Kaylor, since Kaylor's joining in about 20 minutes or 15 minutes. Now that Kaylor's got it, Nino got it because I get to Nino through WhatsApp. So Niko's got it, Kaylor's got it. Now everybody else has it, and John's an idiot. Nothing wrong with that. Yes, the conflagration will cause consternation. Absolutely true. It absolutely will. Absolutely true. Bam, death tax in Australia, getting Japan and Saudi in the next round of World Cup qualifiers. Evening, Bam. Good to have you with us, by the way. So here's how this works. Bam's in Australia, and he's watching us before he goes to bed. And the Orange and Black Soccer Cast is watching us having breakfast on the left coast, best coast before he goes into work. That's Andy King, by the way, for those that are following us on the Twitters and such. So the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, always follow them to get all your info about what's going on the Western Conference. We'll catch up with Kaylor coming up, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, and all that kind of stuff. So, Tom, we're talking. Tom, I believe, is discussing the proposed transfer to Thiago Almada. Once again, it's who is saying things, who is not saying things. Thiago has been a complete and total professional in all of this. He's been a great dude. So if it's not administrations and it's not front offices and it's not players, then who's left? That's who's left. Bam is fighting a cold and flu at the moment, wide awake from sleeping all day. And Kaylor wants to just make up a transfer rumor. Make up something with Enzo Martinez. An Enzo Martinez trade rumor, something like that. So Kaylor's going to join us in about 15 minutes. He's going to talk USL. Nino Torres from Gold TV is going to join us at 10 o'clock. He's going to talk Copa. And Niko Moreno is going to join us at 10:30, 10:35, last half hour of the show. He's going to talk MLS. He's going to talk Seattle. He's going to talk what's on his mind from Copa. Euros yesterday. You get to have moments that are just amazingly cool. And it just so happened that it's with Sabalob Janidze and Georgia. Nothing like alerting 3-year letterman about what's going on in Georgia as Georgia beats Portugal. Georgia beat Portugal yesterday. It was goal number 1, courtesy of our friends at Optus Sports and UEFA.
Benfica defender gives it away and leaves the door ajar at the back, and Georgia attacking, and it's Kvaratskhelia. First chance of the game, first goal of the game. Sensational start for Georgia. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. What a noise, what a moment. Georgia's dreams of reaching the knockout stages are alive early in Gelsenkirchen.
Wow, what a start to the game. we've seen Georgia in those previous 2 games. As soon as they win it back, they've got the pace.
Lethal on the counter, wasting no time. By the way, our friend, that's courtesy of our friends at Optus. Optus reminds us that Burkina Faso, Northern Ireland, Mali, and the Democratic Republic of Congo are all ranked higher than Georgia. And don't tell me for a second or a second and a half that Roberto Martinez is getting lit blanking up for rotating his. He went shadow team is what I think. Shadow lineup, I think, is what they said. I think it was 8 changes. I had a feeling that something like this would happen, but when you've got a roster as deep as Portugal's is, you would think that, okay, it's all there. But you end up with a goal from Kvaratskhelia. And how about keeping an eye, just for the sake of keeping an eye on folks? Mamarashvili in net and Mikotadze up top. There you go. Yeah. Mikotadze, Mets got relegated. He's under contract with Ajax until 2028. He's got a 13 million pound value right now, courtesy of our friends at Transfermarkt. But Kvaratskhelia, like 60 to 80 million, so that ain't happening. But somebody like Mikotadze, whose stock is going up, you better grab him now. Mets just got relegated. I don't know if he's going to stay at Mets or if he's going to go back to Ajax. Would Ajax be interested in perhaps selling Mikotadze? So if a team is looking for help up top, maybe you can go get Mikotadze. If you need somebody in net, Mamarashvili, who's been fairly insane too. So you end up with that happening yesterday. Georgia advances. You've got the 16 in the Euro all squared away now. You know who's playing whom. 29-30, July 1st and the 2nd. Switzerland, Italy. Right now, Italy's favored, still on the plus side. Germany, big favorite on the minus side, hosting Denmark. England, a minus 238, going up against Slovakia, who's north of 8, plus 880. Spain, a minus 476, going up against Georgia, who's a plus 1434 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. July 1st, France and Belgium. France is a minus 109. Belgium to win's a plus 384. Portugal and Slovenia. Portugal big on the minus side at a minus 244. On the 2nd of July, Romania. Netherlands a minus 217. Romania north of plus 700. Austria is minus 110, hosting Turkey, who is a plus 363. That's your knockouts in the Euro. But Georgia made their way through. And if you saw the videos of the dance line that they had as they were going through the mix zone, you saw who was out front, didn't you? Saba Lobjanidze out front in the mix zone conga line as Georgia made it to the knockouts. Number 74 in the world, biggest upset by ranking in the history of the Euros. Portugal is number 6, Georgia at number 74. And there you go. So Georgia advances to the Sweet 16, and good on them. Portugal and Roberto Martinez, I'm sure, are never going to hear the end of it. You saw how mad CR39 was. He got pulled because he had a yellow, probably could have gotten a red because he was mouthy. Roberto Martinez doing the prudent thing and pulling him after 60 minutes. And Cristiano Ronaldo decided that he wanted to kick any water bottle that was within sight of his touchline. He was not a happy man. Should not have been a happy man. Yelling at everybody, yelling at teammates, yelling at refs. Security had to protect him from a fan, apparently, that jumped out of the stands in Gelsenkirchen. Spain ain't played Georgia, Paul. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what they're facing in the knockouts. It just means more. That's all I can say. And Abby, the only reason that I say that particular country the way that I do, friends, is because I cannot find the drop in Family Guy where he says it. I can't find it, so I have to do it myself. Pars is back from Parza Vallarta. So Pars is back in the States. Welcome back. So That's what you're looking at from the Euro. We're down to the final 16. Yesterday, Atlanta United 2, they decided to Mother Nature decided, actually, to push the start of the match back 49 minutes because, hey, Central Florida, summer, thunderstorms from hell. Who knew? Absolutely shocked by that turn of events. Orlando had a 1-0 lead. Orlando City B had a 1-0 lead. Here's what happened the rest of the second half, courtesy of us. Jason on the call on the SDH Network. Atlanta United 2 on the comeback trail going up against OCB. Here's your second half highlights.
Atlanta into the attacking 18. Carlton floats it to the back post. Firmino, header, goal, goal, goal. Atlanta United 2. Nick Firmino's first of the year with the twos. Alan Carlton with the assist. 1-1. Carlton played it up the right side, made a run through the middle. Centeno gave it back to him, and he just floated up across to pick out Firmino. The Magic Man delivers for Atlanta United 2. Carlton assisting, Firmino scoring 1-1 in the 70th minute. 40 yards from goal, Rivera, his pass intercepted, knocked down by Carlton. Alan Carlton will start the break for Atlanta. Carlton into the attacking half. Carlton splits two with the outside of the right foot. Tamimi into the 18. Tamimi right-footed shot. Goal! 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 Kareem Tamimi! Alan Carlton starts it. His second assist of the night. And Tamimi puts Atlanta United 2 into the lead. Get the bus started. Get it warmed up. Atlanta trying to steal 3 points in Kissimmee tonight. Loyola, top of the 18, low shot, goal, 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 Orlando City B. Fabian Loyola from inside the arc makes it 2-2, heartbreaker for Atlanta United 2.
And it would go to the shootout, and Orlando City B would get the extra point, but a great point on the road for Atlanta United 2 last night. And Alan Carlton coming in off the bench. Yeah, Fabian Loyola just drives me crazy. Every single time OCB and Atlanta United 2 go to play, Loyola seems to be the catalyst for any kind of a purple comeback. And it was 2-2, extra point in the shootout, and the penalty kick shootout goes to Orlando City B. But a great point earned by a thin bench for Atlanta United 2 last night here on the network. They will be without Javier Armas for the match on Friday night, going up against Messi and Friends 2. That is a 6 o'clock kick, 6:03 kick Eastern time, and we'll have the pregame show laying it all out for you ahead of time here on the SDH Network. I'll have the call for you from Fort Lauderdale as Atlanta United 2 finishes up 2 matches in 5 days, and they will take on Inter Miami CF2 down at the Erector Set in Fort Lauderdale. But a great point for them. Great point for them last night. And a great point for them on the road, having not played since the 31st, basically 27 days worth of not playing. Come back. It was a slow start, understandably so, and come back with 2 goals late in the second half. Loyola with the equalizer later than late, losing in PKs. But welcome back to playing in MLS Next Pro, Atlanta United 2 and Steve Cook. Also yesterday, U.S. Soccer Emma Hayes named her women's soccer team. We'll catch up with Bart batting leadoff tomorrow to discuss this, plus what happens tonight at Mercedes-Benz. Casey Murphy, Alyssa Nair on the Olympics roster. 6 defenders. Remember, you can have a roster of 18 plus 4 alternates. Defenders, Tierna Davidson, Emily Fox, Naomi Girma, Casey Kruger, Jenna Neiswanger, Emily Sonnet. Midfielders, Corbin Albert, Sam Coffey, Lindsay Horan, Rose Lavelle, Katarina Macario. Forwards, Crystal Dunn, Trinity Rodman, Jaden Shaw, Sophia Smith, Mallory Swanson. Your alternates, Jane Campbell, Hal Hirschfeld. So another tie to Atlanta, Jane Campbell and Hal Hirschfeld. Alternates, Quabathune. Also an alternate from the University of Georgia and I believe the Alpharetta area when we caught up with her before the season started. Lynn Williams is your 4th alternate, but 3 of your alternates from the Atlanta area. So very, very cool there. We'll catch up with Bart about that tomorrow. We'll catch up with Bart about the national team tomorrow. Bart's going to bat leadoff. Tomorrow is going to border on the insane because it's Bart. It's Beyond Goals, I think, unless our friends from Beyond Goals are flying the 4 winds and we can't track them down. So Bart, Beyond Goals, we'll catch up with, I think, Jack Marchant, the assistant head coach for Decatur FC, to discuss what is going on in the WPSL at 10. Shortly thereafter, we'll catch up with our friends in the UPSL at KSA because they're going to be playing the U19s for Atlanta United in a division championship this weekend. So we'll catch up with KSA before 10:30. Jonathan Mercado catching up with us at 10:30 to talk about what's going on with Apotheos and App FC and a big matchup in the NPSL Southeast. And then after that, Jason comes in, and we try to slam in everything involving Atlanta United, Toronto FC, and Major League Soccer in the final half hour of the show. So tomorrow, Bart, Beyond Goals, Decatur FC, the UPSL, the NPSL, Major League Soccer, and Atlanta United. That's tomorrow's show. If we didn't have things to do and places to go, we'd probably end up going 3 hours or at least 2.5. That's how crazy tomorrow is going to be. And it will Javi almost got his 5th yellow yesterday. So it's 100 according to the old according to the rules that were posted on the MLS Next Pro League website. 5th yellow means it's a game suspension and a $125 fine. That has not been adjusted for speed or space. Don't know if the $125 fine is different now or anything like that. But Javi Armas picked up his 5th yellow last night, so he is not available for the matchup against Messi and Friends 2, and we will find out what's going on with that tomorrow. Chaos, I tell you, chaos. But it's a good kind of chaos. We're busy this time of year. Bam wants to know when SDH is going to be a 24/7 channel. We're working on it, brother. We are working on it. And yes, Abby, Decatur FC is a Saturday match. So get this. Apotheos and App FC is at Silverbacks Park, 7 o'clock Saturday night. Jarrett's on the call for that. Gabe Schrei is going to be on the call for Decatur FC at 7 o'clock on the WPSL side of things. And then Atlanta United is taking on Toronto FC at 7:40. So all of that stuff is going on at the same time on Saturday pretty much. So it is the Saturday of soccer during the summer of soccer. So yeah, Toronto, Decatur FC, and Apotheos all on Saturday here in the area. Man. No dilly, no dally zone, as we promised. I'm going to bring him in early, considering he's already fired up and ready to go. Kaylor's here. Last Thursday of the month, and that means one thing. It means Kaylor Hodges and the Band of Renown get to come out and party with us and tell us what's going on in the world of USL Championship, League One, anything else USL that he wants to talk about. Where's the cat, by the way?
Well, we have both of them in here. We're going to try to fight through it. It's too late. So we're grinding this morning.
Absolutely. We were, you and I always go back and forth on social media and stuff like that in between your visits. And the break glass visit that we had last time involving coaching vacancies in Major League Soccer and who might be called up from USL Championship, who's ready for these kinds of things. When it comes to hot seats and who might be able to jump to the next level, whether through good or bad, since we last talked, have things changed in your mind in any locations other than Wilmer Cabrera being newly employed and finally catching something of a rhythm in El Paso? What's going on in the coaching front in the USLness?
Hard not to mention Morten Carlson, who gets a move from Orange County to the first tier of Denmark. He's taking on a newly promoted side, and so he's leaving Orange County immediately to go out there. So, that's our first big promotion of the year. If you don't count the preseason had a lot of moving and shaking, and that's just how that goes. Morgan Carlson, I think it's the one that you kind of have to look at. You kind of have to say, yep, that's a big deal. Yep, he got his promotion. That's awesome. If we're going to look at hot seats,
Yeah.
we had already laid out that El Paso was in a super hot seat. That one seemed like a layup. Other than that, I kind of get the feeling that everybody is safe because we have people we're looking at different kinds of interim jobs, right? Like we have people who there's going to be replacements, but it's not because they're fired, it's because they're already interims.
Yeah.
Everybody else has like a long-term vision. Even Miami, where you look at where they are and say that's not very good, this is also very much by design. They brought him in to take on these kids. I mean, this is a young group, and that's what they want to do. They want to build a group around that. It's hard for me to find a true hot seat. I'm sure somebody's going to get fired, and we'll say in hindsight that makes a lot of sense. But right now, it's hard for me to find one.
God bless stability, or at least stable thought when it comes to have your coach do things at the halfway point of the season. Let me ask you now. There's one of the clubs. Oh, by the way, what's the mug and what's in the mug? Silly me for not asking.
Coffee in the mug. The mug is a swamp rabbit in Greenville.
Okay.
So it's a little grocery cafe. It has some of the best honey and some of the best bread that you can find in the Greenville area, and just really nice people. So enjoy them. Also, they are proud supporters of the Greenville Liberty and the Greenville Triumph. So
excellent.
We support the people who support the lower leagues.
Yes, absolutely true. Somebody who is back to being a coach in U.S. circles, he's been drawing the daylights out of things early this year. I mean, I cannot think of a first-year club that has had this many draws coming out of the blocks. And now they've started winning, and Cano Smith and Rhode Island are starting to get 3 points instead of 1, which I imagine was driving contributor here, Michael Parker, slightly crazy. But now that they're starting to turn draws into wins, they're moving up the table in the East.
Man, it was just kind of a regression to the mean because they were creating chances. Birmingham native Clay Holstad, he is a master at hitting the post. I think I think at some point somebody did a count, or I can't remember who it was. It may have been Rising Anchor. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but I think they said Clay Holstad has hit the post 7 times this year. And only scored now just twice. And so he can strike the ball cleaner than anybody else in the league. The ball comes off his boot cleaner than anybody else in the league. The issue is he puts it on frame. He just doesn't put it on target. That's his problem. So
he puts it on frame. He doesn't put it on target. Okay.
Oh, it's on the frame. Will not go in the back of the net. It will hit every single bit of the metal that surrounds the net.
Okay.
But finally things have just started going in. On the other half of this is that they go to Louisville, they get a really good results, and the 5 goals flatter them a little bit because Lou City starts trying to go for the win. They leave themselves exposed. I don't think they were 5 goals good, but they were certainly 3 goals good, which is what they end up winning by. As for El Paso, this is something that I'm going to echo what our friends in Seriously Loco and our friend Phil Bakke has said several times.
Mm-hmm.
Wilmer Cabrera can put out whatever tactics he wants, but when the team looks like they've given up before the match starts, what can he do?
Wow.
And towards the end, it looked like El Paso had a little bit of fight to him, so much so that their captain gets a second yellow. And they get this 3rd goal shipped on them, and Rhode Island gets their first win at home. El Paso seems like they are going to need to completely clear house And they have talent on that team too. If it ends up being a season where they start transferring talent, they start trading talent before the year's over, there are some hot commodities on that team. And they're going to be prime pickings. If they decide to wait till the offseason and just say we are clearing it all out, this offseason is going to be filled with incredible free agents. I just don't see any way that this team can stay together in El Paso with how rotten it looks like it's gotten down there.
I was going to say, I would imagine, though, that if you want some kind of return on an asset, then you're not going to wait until the season is over, and you're going to see if there are any takers, so you can start the football purge at Southwest University Park. And you got the new coach. You got the new coach bounce. You did, but now that you've gotten to losing 2 in a row, it does present an interesting question in El Paso as to how you want to approach the rest of this year. You're at the halfway point-ish, and you've only won 3 out of 17, 3-11-3. How do you want to attack this? I think that's the bigger question there that you bring up when it comes to the last place team in the Western Conference that looked like they were trying to climb out of the cellar, but now they've lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's bizarre is they do not win at home. They haven't won at home in 2.5 years.
Wow.
Ever since they had oh gosh, it wasn't Brian Clare out. It was the guy before him whom I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Lowry.
No, there was a guy in between that completely ruined their culture.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the issue, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head now. Ever since then, and he played Evan Newton as a sweeper keeper, which I love Evan Newton. Man's not a sweeper keeper. He is a stick me as deep as I can on the line. I will block everything. Please don't play the ball to my feet. He did that, and El Paso fans got sick of it and booed Evan, and they were booing
John Hutchinson.
John Hutchinson, thank you. They were booing their own players, and that was the third game at home 2-3 years ago now, and the team has never recovered. They have not recovered since that time. And I think you just have to full on get rid of everybody from that locker room because they have to have new faces. They have to have new ears that haven't heard the displeasures from fans. You have to get somebody who's ignorant to what the home record has been, because otherwise this is just going to become a repeating pattern.
So then let's stick in Texas. What the hell's going on in San Antonio?
Everybody's dead, hurt.
Everybody's dead.
Kinda. I mean, I think when Legion played them, they had their longest injury plus international, because San Antonio is a team that tries to get as many internationals as they can because best talent wins games, right? There's other teams that try to avoid internationals because they want to have their best 11 all year long. If you include their internationals and their injuries, they had 11 players on the out list.
Yikes.
They haven't been below 8 people out in one match, I think, since the 3rd week in the season.
Wow.
They have been decimated with injuries. And I also think now, okay, going back to the coaching question, I don't think San Antonio will do it, but Marcina is on the hot seat for fans. I don't think he's on the hot seat for the front office.
For the org, yeah.
But for fans, they want him out of there. And I kind of hate to say this, but he has not shown that he has more than one party trick. Alan Marcina has this high work rate system that works amazing if you have your players, which they did when they won the championship and were arguably the best team to ever play in the USL championship ever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They were great then. Players retire, players move away, players get moves up to MLS because they were great, right?
Yep.
They don't have those players anymore, and everybody's falling apart, and they don't have the same mindset. They are still sitting back, conceding all this possession because they want to be this counterattacking team, and they don't have anybody that can counterattack. They barely have people that can fully defend.
I was going to say, they barely have people who can function, apparently, health-wise.
When they came to Birmingham, I think of their people that were on the bench, I think 4 of them were academy products.
Yeah, understandable.
And they weren't going to get to play because why would they, right? They're not ready, but they have to fill out more than 3 people on the bench. And so Alan Marcina has not shown me that he can do anything to change to win matches. And when they were hot, they would change throughout the games and be like, oh, now we want to dominate possession. But that was when they had one of the greatest rosters that we have seen. They don't have that anymore. He doesn't have another card. He doesn't have something else he can play. He doesn't have another hand. He sticks to what he has. It's not winning. Yes, injuries aside, he's not getting the best out of the players he has.
So then let me bring this to the table as an idea, and it's something that we've seen here in MLS Next Pro with Atlanta United 2, where there just happened. You have to have times where you've got to see where your academy kids are. You've got to see where that next wave is within your own program, and sometimes throwing those kids into the fire to see where they are, and at the same time make sure that they understand that this is not just something where, I'm throwing you into the deep end and there's no life preserver and I'm walking away from the pool. It gives the academy kids a chance to learn, and then the margin for their preparedness coming from academy to be ready for Alan Marcina, I would think that would let those margins would get a lot closer if you did have those academy kids come in and get cups of coffee in games that might be out of control. So that way Alan Marcina and the staff can get knowledge on their academy. They can see where the academy is, and they can see what they need to do to fill these gaps. And if you have an academy kid that is doing well and is giving you minutes and is going to run his ass off to help you out, what's it hurt right now? If you've got injuries and you're stuck, what's it hurt to have these academy kids get reps?
Look at Jose Gallegos, who was a San Antonio product, who's I think in Denmark, actually, funny enough, and he is playing in the first or second tier there. Like, he's got his move to Europe. Look at teams like Orange County, Louisville City. They throw in their academy kids all the time. The ones that are ready, the ones that prove that they can do it, they are constantly throwing in their academy kids. There's a reason why Orange County and Louisville City are being talked as equals to places like Philadelphia and Dallas in the grand scheme of U.S. soccer, because they are getting first team minutes against grown men. That's huge. And even if those players aren't going on to be U.S. men's national team or Mexican national team, they're still going to be starters for your team in MLS, or going to be starters for your team in Europe. That means a lot. I think that's something that they need to explore big time, because I just don't see how they're going to figure out how to navigate a season without really giving their academy kids a ton of minutes.
At Kaylor Hodges at the USL show, halftime, we switch ends and we find out what's going on with Kaylor. Always the last Thursday of the month, the USL show drops by and lets us know what's going on in their mind when it comes to USL Championship, USL League One, any and all of the USLs that come to mind with topics. You'll notice in the Twitch pitch, for those of you who are watching, I've got a link that was posted. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to bring it in as a lower third since it's halftime. It's where you can get your gear for the USL shows so they can head out west and do cool stuff. Kaylor,
Yep.
Elaborate.
Yeah, so the very first thing, we have a USL show scarf, $25. It's going to help us get out there. So it has all the colors from the different leagues in the USL ecosystem, all kind of put into this fun little thing from all of New York, with our slogan, the USL, the biggest league in the world. So Don't ever forget it. So that is out there if you want something to decorate your wall with, or if you are going to a US Open Cup match where a USL team is playing an MLS squad, you can hang that right above your head, SEC style, because it just means more here in the USL.
Yeah.
So below that, we have the kit for I've made for hammering down my personal podcast. It's the Magic City kit. It takes from iconic signage, the skyline, and the like filler stuff is 205 with a couple of gold bits in there. I think it's really nice. It's really fun. It's also white, so if you want to wear it outside and not die, you can do that.
Yeah, slight issue about wearing dark things outside that absorb heat in this particular time of year. So yeah, support Kaylor and our buddies at the USL show. Get the gear, buy the stuff, go to Olive and York. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the Western Conference just in general, and
Yep.
when you have 9 teams separated by 6 points, basically taking you from third to next to last, is it as crazy and stupid as it looks in the West right now?
Yes. I mean, we say it every single time we come on. Again, Phil Bucky has written about it several times. The West is just a straight up simulation. None of it's real. None of it exists. I mean, Las Vegas is a real contender for the playoffs. They're a really good team. You look at Oakland, who, they're finally playing Dom Dwyer. He's starting to look solid. Just yesterday, the Roots were sitting as high as third. They're now in sixth because why not? They didn't even play yesterday, and that's just kind of what's happened. We have a lot of moving pieces. I think that there are contenders and pretenders in here that are in that little area, but I think there's a lot more contenders in there. I think that the West is legitimately, what is it, like they are 10 deep. I think you have 10 teams in there that can legitimately push your New Mexicos and your Sacramentos to win the West.
So a Tulsa could push a Sacramento or a New Mexico, you think?
They're a pretender.
Okay.
Everybody, I mean, it's Tulsa and El Paso. Tulsa does not pass the sniff test. Everything coming out of Tulsa camp.
So you're saying if San Antonio got healthy, would they go into the contender category?
I think so.
Okay.
I do think that their top end talent contends with anybody in the USL. The issue is health and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of it's almost like what we see with Major League Baseball a lot of times, where teams refuse to go get somebody because, well, we have a guy on the 60-day, injured list. When he comes back, it's basically like a trade. We just got him back. We don't have to make a trade. I think that San Antonio is going to kind of think that way, and they're not entirely wrong, because if that team's healthy, they're really good.
So San Antonio is like the Vegas Golden Knights of USL Championship, where you have a Mark Stone or a Jack Eichel that's buried because of a long-term injury, but when you get healthy, it's just kind of like a trade, and then you bring in somebody new. All right, so you think San Antonio is above Tulsa in the contender category if they get healthy. You've mentioned Vegas. And then that leaves us with 6 teams separated by 2 points. Oakland, Monterey Bay, Memphis 901, Phoenix, Colorado Springs. And so what the heck happened with Colorado Springs? They got off to such an awful start, and they have turned it around to where they're at 500. They're in that gaggle of folks. Right now they're 7th at 21 points, and they had a 4-match unbeaten string snapped last time out. What got into Colorado Springs?
Malik Foster being arguably one of the best forwards in the league. Malik Foster, their right winger, he was very close to making our USL show best 11, mid-season best 11. And to be honest, the only reason he didn't make it was because you can't ignore the stats of Nick Marcanic. But if you look at the film, Malik Foster's been better. The film for Malik Foster is stunning this year. just in general, this Colorado Springs team is just really well coached. This is the same conversation we're having with New Mexico, where the names don't look great, but names have to start somewhere, right? Names don't just come into the league as names. They have to be formed. They have to do something. And New Mexico and Colorado Springs feel like they have found something. They found talent that was overlooked, and they have good coaching on top of it. And I've really enjoyed it. They are just playing really good team soccer.
Who else is on at the USL show half season starting 11? Who else is on that all-star squad?
I will have to pull it up real fast to tell you.
Go ahead and filibuster. Go ahead and filibuster.
Yeah, basically there's a lot of fun just film things. There's a couple of players that several of us fought for, but we couldn't ignore the stats of other people. So in the back, we had Danny Vitiello for Sacramento. On the left back side, so we're going to go left to right, we have Aiden Stanley, who is leading the league in assists at left back. We had Guillen from Tampa Bay at center back. Benafemu, who is now in the 11, formerly of Miami of this year, came on really hot. Turnbull is on the right back side for Rhode Island. Sitting in as a CDM is going to be Aaron Malloy, arguably the best player in the league. Yeah. Easy. We have two central midfielders, Elijah Winder of Louisville City, who has been absolutely stunning. And then we have Hernandez, who is of San Antonio, who, again, has just been absolutely brilliant this year. Sitting in as a central attacking midfielder, we have Bruno Lapa of Memphis 901, and our two strikers, Nick Marcanic and Wilson Harris. Marcanic of Charleston Battery and Harris of Louisville City. And our manager thus far has been Eric Quill of New Mexico.
Where's Marlon, man?
So that was a real conversation for us because Marlon Santos has been really, really good. But our kind of conversation was, if you watch the film, the person that starts the chances for Marlon has been Bruno Lapa. We think that a lot of Marlon's success comes from Lapa, and also that right wing side has been just an absolute slog this year. It's legitimately 5 players deep that you could throw into a best 11. Meanwhile, the left wing side, there's kind of no one. The left wing side is not, it's very weak this year, which is bizarre. And so we ended up not having a left winger in the team. We were like, no one deserved it, but Marlon was a very strong conversation.
I was going to say, I mean, if no one deserves it, then just stack it, sideways a little bit. If no one on the left wing deserves it from you guys, why should you put a left winger in? Just stack it with right and points of the spear.
We went full on Mark Lowry, and we did a 4-4-2 diamond because obviously that's just the way we are.
There you go. I mean, it's nothing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The best 11 is the best 11, and if no one on the left is any part of the best 11, then why worry about it? So we've been spending a lot of time in the Western Conference. Let's talk about the East before you get out of here. We have talked about Rhode Island. Hartford has won more games so far this year than they have in recent memory. What the heck's going on with Pittsburgh?
Again, baseball brain, this is who I am. They have been the Tampa Bay Rays for a long time, where they try to work on a budget and say Bob Lilly can get the best of them. And it's kind of finally caught up to them. Their cheapness has caught up. I don't think that Bob Lilly has done anything wrong. I think he's legitimately doing the best he can with the players he has. In our last episode of the USL show, we have started a phone line where you can call in, leave voicemails. Really fun. One of the things was biggest shocks. And
are you sure that it can be really fun?
I screened these beforehand, so yeah. Not a complete live reaction. But one of the people in our Twitch pitch for ourselves has said Pittsburgh's a shock, and all of us kind of said, we've been calling for the demise of Pittsburgh forever now. That to the point that we're not shocked it's finally happening.
Yeah.
They just have no one you can really believe in. And
Wow.
that sucks. Like Robbie Mertz is
Love Robbie Mertz.
I love Robbie Mertz. I think he is an absolutely stunningly good player. Danny Griffin is still one of the best players in the league. Keziah Sterling is legitimately one of the best strikers to grace the USL.
Mhm.
But outside that, you're kind of looking at EJ Johnson saying, do something for us. Canardo Forbes, still good, but not who he used to be. And at that point, you're just trying to convince yourself.
Okay.
Like I named 4 people, and 2 of them were me saying,
Okay.
It's just kind of how it is this year. They overstepped how cheap they can be.
Charleston only has 3 points in their last 5 matches. They've kind of stumbled a little bit. They've got a lot of draws on the board. They've still only lost twice in 16. They lead that second group of Indy 11, who's going to be dangerous. I don't care who anybody, it's Indy 11. No, they're going to be dangerous for the entire season. Tampa, we talked about Tampa. We know that sunrise is in the east. It comes through your curtain window, and Tampa is going to be strong no matter what. Lou City, to me, obviously number 1 in the East. Is anyone going to stop Lou City by the time we're talking about things in the Eastern Conference?
Tampa Bay, I think. I mean, they just beat them. Like they have proved Tampa Bay, I think, has proved to be the best team in the league right now.
Okay.
I think New Mexico is close behind them. But Tampa Bay has proved to be there. When we're talking about points, points on the table is points on the table. The East is probably still going to go through Louisville City.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about form and just how good the team is, Tampa Bay is going to be heavy favorites.
Okay. One more time. Here's the link. Go to Olive and York, support the USL show, get the scarf, get the jersey, send them out west. What's the latest on that? What's the timetables?
So it's going to be July 21st. We are going to be on the field for Sacramento versus Oakland.
Okay.
We're having a real blast with the people at Oakland. They're great. And we have a lot of fun plans in the work for that. A lot of fun guests that we're planning to have on. Obviously, we're going to have to battle CBS a little bit. Obviously, I think we can take them in a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I think we're fine. So we have a lot of fun stuff that we're planning to do with that, including the night before doing almost like a wraparound show of just kind of talking about the matches, getting together and talking about what's going on live, giving live reactions to things, and a lot of other exclusive interviews that are being planned along the way. So it's really fun.
So are you going to be back in town by the 25th for your next visit?
Yes, I will be back in town. Actually, I think I'll be teaching at that point.
Okay. Well, then you'll be finding rooms to try to hide in when it comes to teaching.
Always.
At Kaylor Hodges, at the USL show. Great to find out what's going on in USL Championship, League One, and anything else on your mind. Be safe, my friend. If we break glass, we'll break glass. But other than that, we'll see you on the flip side when you come back from Oakland, and you'll have stories to tell.
Jaden Hibbert's the truth.
No doubt about it, brother. We're sharing the gospel of Jaden Hibbert from Atlanta United 2 to Birmingham Legion. Be safe, my friend. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
All right. Heading up to hour number 2, and we're doing the hot tag. It's the hot tag. Like in wrestling when you get the one guy who's been in the ring and he's gassed, and then there's that opening that just happens, and the crowd's sitting there and they're anticipating and they're waiting for the hot tag to happen, and the guy just like he does the somersault through the guy's legs, and he jumps and he launches in, and you get the hot tag. That's what we're doing here to start hour number 2. And bringing in our buddy Nino Torres. Nino, what is up, brother?
Hey, John, how you doing, man? Thank you for having me. This time we got it right this time, man. I'm sorry last week.
No, it's on me and newfangled technology, brother. It's all good.
Hey, man, I'm glad to have you here. It's an amazing opportunity for me, man.
No, it's all good. For those that may remember the voice, it's like, hey, I know that voice. Where is it? It's Goal TV. Goal TV is where Nino gets his reps, And the one thing that I love about you when you're calling stuff on Gold TV is that when something's going on and no one's telling you anything and nothing's, you just say it as it is. It's like, oh man, why did he do that for? That was dumb. It's just literally, if he makes a stupid foul, you're going to call somebody out for it. And I love that about you. You suffer no fools when it comes to the matches that you call on Gold TV, brother.
I'm going all in, man. I'm going all in, and I have that freedom thanks to the network. I got that freedom to just be you, man. Just be you and call it as it is, man.
When it comes to how you came up with that stylistically, how long did it take you to be comfortable with how you call matches and present what's going on in front of you on a match by match basis?
I think, you know what, it was crazy, right? Because when I did the audition for the position, my buddy called me in hey Nino, can you call a game in English? And I was like, of course I can. I never done it before. So I just went all in, all my passion and my preparation. And you know what I like is that I don't feel that I am, that you can relate me to any other voices. It's like I made my own voice, I made my own style, and I just keep crafting in the game after game after game. The only thing that it took me a while was to manage the timing, right? Because Nino, you got 20 seconds, and then you got 3 minutes. I'm like, oh, hold on a second, let me just put it all in. And that's the part that it got me the most time to get used to the timing. But other than that, it's me, man. This is my passion. It's my career. I've been covering the sport for many years. So when the opportunity came, I just snatch it.
Absolutely. And so now we have brought in your expertise to discuss what is going on with the Copa. And I have been told by a little birdie to discuss your beloved Peru and find out what is going on. What is going on with your beloved Peru, my friend?
Man, I told Jason a couple of weeks ago, we were talking on his show, and when he asked me about it, I was like, Jason, my expectations are so low for this Copa, man. My expectations are low for this Copa. I know we've been cracking the Final Four in the previous 4 editions of the Copa, but I don't feel that strong for this Copa America. Number one, the new coach, it's a new system. There's this transition between the old generation that took us to Russia after 36 years of not being in the World Cup. But now we are in the middle of the old generation, the new generation that there's not ready yet to take on. All right, we got the players like Grimaldo, we got Piero Quispe, we got Peña, Marco Lopez, the guy that you know, and but they're not at that stage yet. You know, they're still emerging. All right, they're not stars yet. They need to. I think that they need more games. It's going to take some time, and that time I don't know if we have time for us to qualify for the World Cup, that's the main goal here with Jorge Fossati. I knew from the get-go that this Copa America was not we're going for the Final Four again. No, we're not going for the Final Four. We're going to find the team here. We're going to find who's going to play for September. We're going to play in November and December, because we have tough matches ahead of us, and we are at the bottom of the table on the World Cup qualifiers. So this is the development phase of this team, this Copa America, playing with the big dogs, playing with Argentina on Saturday. And we're not ready. We don't have firepower. Gianluca Lapadula has been off for 9 consecutive games without scoring. We got a 39-year-old striker that's supposed to save us, but he's 39, you know. And we miss. I miss Raul Ruiz. He got the call, but he said, you know, I'm not ready for it at this very moment, because his experience with the national team hasn't been the great. I mean, he's fantastic with Seattle. He was fantastic in Liga MX. He was fantastic in Chile, but not with the national team. But I think he's going to come back. He's going to come back at one point from now and the end of the year. And hopefully he gets the call, because I think this system is going to work for him. The previous coaches, previous teammates. I don't know. There's a toxic relationship with Raul Diaz and the Peruvian national team. Hopefully that ends and we get clean, and he can score all those fantastic goals that you see him scoring in the MLS week by week, man.
Well, and right now he's having a bit of a run-in with Brian Schmetzer. We're going to have Niko Moreno joining us from Seattle coming up after you here on the show this morning. And we'll find out what's the latest with Raul Ruidiaz. Let me go back to the Canada match a little bit here.
Yeah.
And
I hate it.
But I mean, Fossati comes in, and I don't think a lot of folks, folks that might be experiencing the Copa for the first time, they may not necessarily understand that this is how folks are wired. Not just Fossati, but coaches in general. They're going to speak their mind. They're going to talk about what's going on. Fossati drops that quote about using fists, and I think an entire country went like, "Whoa, hang on just a second, man." But I mean, I think that was it might have been a bit of a wake-up call for folks about what this tournament really means to folks.
It means a lot. It means a lot. This Copa America, it's how do I put it, man? It's our World Cup. It's a World Cup, and I don't think that they have that sense in CONCACAF. It's kind of like, all right, we're invited to the party, but this is not just a party, man. This is serious business here, and we're going all in here. Okay, and when he's talking about the fist, it's because we're gonna fight for every single match, man. Every single match is a war. This is soccer war, man. This is CONMEBOL. This is the biggest stage in the continent, right? And I understand that, in the continent. So, yeah, get ready. Get ready for Canada. Get ready for Peru. Get ready for everyone that's gonna play it on this. I mean, we got one more game left. So I don't know if Canada's gonna make it. It's gonna be interesting. That last game of the on our group, Messi's not gonna play. It's confirmed already. This morning I confirmed that he's not gonna be on the he's gonna be on the game for against Peru on Saturday. Di Maria might be taking a rest too. In the world champions and the current reigning champions of the Copa America, they might take it easy on us. We'll see.
Who has been the biggest disappointment outside of what may be in your heart? In this tournament, who's been the biggest disappointment for you so far in the Copa?
As a team?
Yeah.
All right. I predicted this. I predicted this, that Mexico was not going to have a Copa America. That I told Jason that I think that Mexico was going to go through the group stage. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's happening now. It's happening now. Now, but the disappointment for me is Ecuador. That's disappointing, because Mexico, I was expecting that this was going to happen. Now, for me, Ecuador, who, by the way, never won a Copa America, and for some strange reason, every Copa America, they fail. They failed miserably. They didn't advance to the knockout stage. The last time they advanced was in 1995. Okay, and but this year, also like, okay, this is a new generation, exciting young players. Almost 95% of the team plays in Europe. Independiente del Valle providing Kendry Páez for every other player, Mo Caicedos of the world. And but there's one thing with Ecuador, it's an endemic situation with the teams on this side of the continent, on the Pacific side, because all the strikers are on the other side. Uruguay, Argentina, and Brazil. When it comes to the Pacific side, in Colombia, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, we don't produce strikers. Chile doesn't have a world-class striker. We don't have a world-class striker. Colombia doesn't have a world-class striker. And with Ecuador, now that they have Ener Valencia after that kamikaze tackle kung fu thing that he did to take down the player, He's off for 2 rounds, and you can tell how crucial is Ener Valencia at 33.
Mm-hmm.
At 33 for the offense in Ecuador. But I was saying, okay, so they don't have that, but they got multiple options coming from the midfield, from the wings that they can score. But you need that element. You need that player that makes a difference and on top of the offense. They don't have that. But they managed to take the game. They managed to get a win. And they're there. I mean, they're just going to play Mexico in the last round. And woo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, get ready, Tricolor. Get ready.
I mean, the thing about El Tri when it comes to Mexico as a side for me, I think they waited too late to transition out the older players.
Yeah.
And they thought that, yeah, we can run it back one more time. We got this group. We think we can do it. We think we can do it. And then you go, you fall on your face. And then you're like, oh, crap, what do we do? We're stuck. And I think that right now is the proof that Mexico is stuck and they waited too long to unstick themselves out of the mud right now.
This is the situation with Mexico. Please, my Mexican friends, forgive me. I got a lot of Mexican friends. They're absolutely overrated. This is a team that is probably the most among national teams, the most overrated team in the world. I want to say in the world. Okay, number one, because they truly believe that their league, the Liga MX, is better than Premier League. Number one. Yeah. All right. Number two, they think they have the best players in the world, that the players are better than anyone else. But if I ask you right now, John, all right, give me how many players playing in how many Mexican players are in the Premier League at the elite teams? Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City.
No.
Let's go to the La Liga. Give me a Mexican player plays in the Real Madrid, Barcelona.
No.
Go to Milan, AC Milan, Inter Milan. They don't have a single player in the elite. They're not elite. And they refuse to believe that they're not elite. Because once you realize, okay, you know what? I might not be looking like like Brad Pitt right now, okay? But I'm gonna do my best. All right. I'm gonna be charming. I'm gonna buy you drinks. I'm gonna be entertaining. I'm gonna show the talents that I have. Not pretend to have the talents that I don't have. I can work with that. But they don't realize that. They don't realize that they're not elite. They're not a top 10. Let's accept your reality that you are a top 30 maybe team in the world. Top 30. All right. If so, right now I want to say top 50. Okay. That top 50 is a little bit more much. All right. Top 30. Let's do top 30 with Mexico. Okay. Assume your position. But nothing is going to change with the Mexican national team unless they change that mentality. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. So now we're going to wait for the next pool of talents that are, who knows when it's going to come. Because the last generation of exciting soccer players, it was the one 2008. 2008 was the last generation of players with Dos Santos, with Chicharitos, with all of them. But right now, they don't have it. And the big problem is that in Mexico, and the Liga MX, it's the second, I want to say it's the second best paid league in the continent. And it's Brazil comes first, and then it's Mexico. Mm-hmm. So the motivation for young players, to save the future to secure their families, is money. If I can get, a contract for a couple million in my country, I don't have to go to, I don't know, the Netherlands, all right, and being 5,000 miles away from my family. I'm gonna stay because I'm gonna get paid here. I wanna get paid the same. If I'm going over there, I'm gonna get called. I'm gonna don't speak the language and la. So that's a problem. That's a big problem for the national team.
I was looking at the roster when you were talking about it. outside of Liga MX, here's where players currently play: Porto, Almeria, Genoa, Edson Alvarez, who's injured, West Ham, currently rostered there. Orbelin Pineda's at AEK Athens, Luis Chavez, Dinamo Moscow, Julian Quinones, Alcadzia in the league that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote, and Santiago Jimenez is at Feyenoord. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That ain't blue bloods, brother. I mean, that's like, okay, I'm gonna go get paid, and that's what you get when you go to Alcadzia. That's what you get when Edson Alvarez goes to West Ham. That's not like blue blood stuff. You're trying to find an opening in somebody who's interested in you, who's apparently going to pay you, and that's not you got players that are not going to blue blood locations now.
Exactly. And if you go, if we're gonna make the comparison, they don't like comparison. Nobody likes comparisons, but to the national team, to the U.S. men's national team, they. I mean, it's a long way. They came a long way from. Remember, from Alexi Lalas making the. It's an American playing in Europe. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Right now, you got plenty of Americans playing in Europe, and you get plenty of Americans playing on the top leagues, and that translates into the pitch right now. That's the difference right there between playing for AEK than playing for AC Milan, like Pulisic. It's a big difference.
When you look at the United States team in this tournament, what is your impression of them as a group, and how far do you think they can go?
I think quarterfinals. Mm-hmm. I think quarterfinals. I don't think they're gonna make it. I don't think they're gonna crack the top four, because the big four is way too strong right now.
Yeah,
way too strong in this competition. Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, they're way too strong.
Brazil, really?
I'm gonna back up a little bit with Brazil. I got Brazil in the top four. Okay.
Yeah.
But they are my number four. My number one for me is Uruguay. Number two is Argentina. Number three is Colombia, and number four is Brazil. That's the order that I think this competition is gonna go.
Okay.
Because in the end, even Brazil, you saw them, their struggle, But the thing is with Costa Rica under coach Gustavo Faro. Gustavo Faro it's a coach that is he's street smart, He's a street smart guy. He knows, he understands, that's the perfect example of understanding your talent. Where is your talent stands against the big dogs? Right here, right? Okay, so we cannot pretend to go blow by blow with Brazil, because they're gonna blow us up. No, we're gonna stay compact. We're gonna park the bus, and we're gonna wait for the perfect opportunity to score. That's what we do, and that's what our Faro team's been doing for many years, and that's how he almost qualified to the next round in the World Cup, and that's how he got into the World Cup in the last World Cup for Qatar. But back to the national team, to the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah,
I think the strong group. And what it helps is, and is the Greg Berhalter. How many years has it been, Greg, with the national team?
6,
right? So you don't sound like that. 6, man. It's like it's about time. It's about time for him to go, right?
Yeah.
But it's stability, man. That's the having a coach for that many years. It gets you to understand that there's an identity, and I know Greg personally for his time, man, when he was coaching the Columbus Crew, and he's a hardworking man. He's a hardworking man, detail oriented. But sometimes what happens with Greg is that he's hard to he's a knucklehead sometimes. He is.
No denying it. I'm just, the fact that you dropped a knucklehead, I'm like, yeah, all right. I'll stipulate.
Okay, so now since I said that, I mentioned that, I'm gonna tell you story. Do we have time? We have time, right?
Yeah, we got
Tell you a
time.
story.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. This is a story in Columbus when he was playing Columbus. His first season with Columbus Crew. He came in and all right, we're gonna play 4-2-3-1. That's my system. That's in my mind. Okay. All right, let's do it. So the season before Greg arrives, Domenico Duro was the leading scorer for Columbus Crew, coming from the wings. He's a natural born winger. He's not gonna. If you take him away from the line, he's getting lost. So what he did, he took him away from the line. He put him as a center forward. Okay, this guy scored 12 goals last season. He's gonna give me another 12 this season. All right, but comes up that I didn't realize this until I saw that on the pitch. The Domenico Duro doesn't have an aerial game. He's just he doesn't know how to fly. That's it, man. That's it. He doesn't know, right? And yeah, they were throwing cross. And at one press conference, I said, "Hey, Greg, have you considered to maybe switch systems?" And he looked at me like, "Why? Why?" I was like, "All right. First off, you got a guy that doesn't know how to jump. All right, number one. And yeah, you send 20 or 25 crosses a game to him. All right. And you have, what's his name? Ethan Finley. Remember Ethan Finley?
Oh, yeah, I remember Ethan Finley. Yeah.
Ethan from Columbus.
Yeah.
So you got Ethan Finley and you got Domenico Duro. Two guys that are super fast, right? What about, maybe having two men up front instead of one man up front? That might be the issue. Because number one, if you're not going to change the system, change the player. But guess what? You don't have a striker. Yeah, what's his name? Eric Schoenfeld was your backup striker in there. Eric Schoenfeld, I don't know if he's still playing, man. Because honestly, to be honest with you, I think I was better than Schoenfeld on the pitch on the top. Okay, I mean, all right, and he was like, all right. Maybe we'll look into it. He gave me that polite answer and la la la. Mm-hmm. 6 months later, he said in a press conference that they gonna have the start with the wrong food, that they should get it better and la la la. And by the end of that season, they hired Carcamara, and you know what happened after that? They went they run into the finals because they have a real striker at true 9 that didn't have in the season before. So that's why I'm saying that sometimes Greg comes up as a no, okay, doesn't change it. This is my idea. This is my system, and sometimes you gotta be flexible. That's the thing.
You hit me with that Greg Berhalter response again.
Why? No. He looked at me like, why? Jesus.
Oh, that's fantastic. You don't like calling Greg Berhalter a knucklehead. You don't know how many fans you got this morning by calling Greg Berhalter a knucklehead. Dude, I'm serious. So what are you up to these days? I know that folks can watch you on Gold TV, but how busy is your dance card these days, brother?
You know what? I'm so glad that we're so slow right now because all the tournaments during a break, and the only tournament that we currently broadcasting right now is the Uruguayan Championship, and this weekend they're off because there's national elections in Uruguay, so I'm going to be watching soccer all day long, man, all day long.
Well, I'm glad that you are. For the record, tell folks where you are this morning and you're reaching out to us. Where are you sipping your morning beverage?
Oh, my morning, I got some orange juice.
Mm-hmm. Where are you dialing in from?
I know. Hey, I'm from Lima, Peru.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm in Lima, Peru right now. You see me, I'm going with my thing here because it's kind of chilly here. It's not 100-degree weather like it's right now in Atlanta and in Kansas City and everywhere that the Copa America has been played. So yeah, this is crazy, right? Because when I first came back, when I returned from the States after being in Columbus for 14 years, it was funny because the people were looking at me like, this guy's crazy. Why are you wearing sandals and shorts? This is winter time, man. Dude, you know where I'm coming from?
Oh, yeah.
I'm coming from Columbus, Ohio, buddy. Huh? We got -7 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
Okay. So 60-degree winter here. It was paradise for me. But now, my body got used to it. Now I'm I'm all bundled up here with that 60-degree winter.
I know. It's
No
like
limit.
you bundle up from the waist up. You wear shorts and sandals from the waist down, and everything is all good. You're coming back this time, same time next week, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got me, man.
And it's a blast. And trust me, anytime that you want to crash to talk about anything, literally just reach out to me. It's like, dude, I got something on my chest. I got to get off my chest. Go ahead and dial up anytime, but we will catch up with you this same time next week. We'll continue talking Copa. Be safe, be well, my friend, and enjoy the exercising out on the lanai out there on the front of the casa there, and so everybody can see you do your burpees and everything. It's always great.
Oh, you got my burpees. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, great to see you, my friend. We'll catch up with you same time next week. We'll talk more Copa and anything else that's on your mind.
All right. See you guys. Thank you for having me. It's going to be a blast. Thank
you. Nino Torres. He's drinking his OJ. He's getting his morning exercise in. And yes, he was dialing in from Lima, Peru. That's why I wanted to let him tell you that he's not just calling from around the corner. He's dialing us up from Lima, Peru. That's the kind of dude that he is. He's properly hydrating. He's getting everything ready for his breakfast. He's dialing it up. And he's hanging out with us here on Thursdays during the Copa. And then when the Copa's over, like I told him, I said, I'm elevating Nino to golden ticket holder status immediately. He immediately gets to golden ticket holder. So anytime anything's on his chest, he can WhatsApp me. He's like, bruh, I got to talk about something. He can crash. Literally, that's how this works. He can crash and talk about anything that he wants to talk about. Anything going on, he'll follow, on social media and everything. It's like, John, I got something on my chest. I got to get off my chest. That's what we're doing. Nino's elevated to golden ticket holder status immediately. Right there as a part of that crew. Blessed to have him come in this morning and talk about stuff. That's the official term. All right. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo before Niko Moreno joins us at 10:35. We'll talk about Raul Ruiz-Diaz. We'll talk about what's going on with Nuhu. We'll talk about what's going on in Seattle. Anything else on his mind that is going on? So gossip, rumor, and innuendo officially getting into everything that is all the rumors of the day. No, there has not been an official signing involving Thiago Almada and anything involving Eagle Football Holdings. I'm still waiting for them to throw us a curve and sit there and go, yeah, he's going to Molenbeek instead. That's what he's doing. He's not going to Botafogo. He's going to Molenbeek. It's in the chain. He's going over there first. That's where he's going first. But still, nothing official. Looks like Bart Sliech has made his way back from Poland in the Euros. Looks like he is practicing this morning. Don't know how available he will be on the weekend against Toronto. Maybe on the bench to start things off. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, no official word with Thiago Almada and Eagle Football Holdings about anything involving Botafogo, Lyon, Crystal Palace, Molenbeek, Choice E, none of the above. Still haven't heard anything official, but obviously the word is out there. We played you what happened with John Texter yesterday, announcing everything on the YouTubes, and it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to make the offer official. So if it's not the owner of the team that's interested or the multi-football group that's interested, if he says we haven't done anything, if Atlanta United says we haven't done anything, then the player says we haven't done anything. Who does that leave? Starts with an A, ends with a T, and it's not the word about. Maybe those individuals are the ones that are sitting there saying, yeah, it's official. Everything's fine. Yeah, it's going to happen. The representative, maybe those individuals are the ones that are kind of pushing things forward. But nothing from United, nothing from Eagle Football Holdings, obviously nothing from Thiago. So we'll see where this goes. But you look at Cesar Luis Merlo, you look at Herman Garcia Grova. They're saying that it's confirmed, that it's official, that it's in the paperwork. But until the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and we get the release 5 minutes after the show is over, then nothing's happened yet. So that's where we are with Thiago. All right, gossip, rumor, and innuendo around the planet. Chelsea have acquired about Alexander Isak, but would have to pay more than £115 million to sign him. That's the 4-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Newcastle, reluctant to see Isak leave, would rather sell Callum Wilson, with teams from England, Germany, and Saudi Arabia interested. Obviously, there was the article that was posted that both Charlotte and Atlanta United are also interested in Callum Wilson, but Callum Wilson is 33 and injury-prone. Keep that in mind. Bayern set to move for Everton's midfielder Amadou Onana after becoming frustrated in their efforts to sign Portuguese midfielder João Palhinha from Fulham. Barca interested in Julian Alvarez. Wouldn't you be too? Saudi Arabia's PIF, which owns 4 teams in the league that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote, has made an approach for Arsenal midfielder Thomas Partey. That's from our friends at Caught Offside. Atalanta, not Atlanta, but add another A, made a £10 million bid for Everton's Ben Godfrey. An unnamed club has offered 15. Manchester United considered selling naming rights to Old Trafford to help raise funds. That's from our buddy David Ornstein, Matt Crafton, and our friends at The Athletic. Everton close to signing 27-year-old midfielder Wilfred Ndidi on a free when his Leicester contract expires next week. Newcastle forward Yankuba Minte has rejected a move to Lyon despite the French club agreeing to a £40 million fee. That's from the 3-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Brighton interested in talking. They're interested in Diego Gomez, the Paraguayan midfielder for Messi and friends. So keep an eye on that. They've already apparently made an offer. We'll see what happens there, and we'll see how Inter Miami wants to navigate the salary cap from there. Crystal Palace working on a deal to sign Sunderland's Job Bellingham. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Ipswich are in talks with Hull over a deal for English defender Jacob Greaves. Manchester United on the women's side targeting Bayern Munich's Maria Luisa Gross as a replacement for Mary Earps, who is set to join PSG. That's from Florian Plettenberg at Sky Germany. Saudi side Al Hilal weighing up a surprise move for Alejandro Garnacho for Manchester United, currently at the Copa with Argentina. Arsenal set to miss out on Stuttgart striker Serhou Girassi, as he is keen on a move to Borussia Dortmund. And Shaquille O'Neal's in talks about buying a stake in West Ham. So we'll see what happens with Big Shaq and if he's interested in West Ham. Tom says Isak also wanted by Everton. One report said he likes Dyke. Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche, Alexander Isak, Everton. Tom, where are you when it comes to PSR? I imagine that you've got to have something done to make sure that you're okay under PSR and the three columns for the 105. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. But intriguing to say the very least. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Obviously today, since the Euros are taking it easy now that we know the Sweet 16. Kind of a light day, but once again, Copa America 6 and 9, and it's all night side. No Euros today. Copa's at night. USA Panama at 6. Uruguay Bolivia's at 9. That's on Big Fox, the doubleheader. 2 to NA simulcasting both. Unimas has Uruguay and Bolivia. Univision has USA and Panama. Jägermeister Cup, Omaha and Chattanooga. That's at 8 o'clock on ESPN+. Matt Miazga is out for the year for FC Cincinnati after undergoing reconstructive knee surgery. It was to his PCL and his meniscus. Placed on the season-ending injury list. Reconstructive knee surgery. So you have no Miazga, no Hagland, because remember, Hagland had to have surgery on a fractured fibula, I believe. One of the two bones. If it's his fibula, I broke my fib. Doctor told me of all the worthless bones in the body, that's one of them. The one at the back. 4 weeks turned into 8 in a cast. 8 weeks takes you to the end of August, and then you've got rehab. So end of August for Hagland, and that's just getting out of a cast, and then you've got rehab. So end of September, maybe. And that's being optimistic because you've got to be confident in putting a weight on your leg all over again. You've got to be able to start and stop. You've got to make sure that everything is in place and that you can continue to act as you once did as an athlete. So Cincinnati, thin at the back. the depth in Hagelin gone. Miazga gone. Miazga out for the year. Hagelin for at least the next 8 weeks. Tom, thank you for letting me know all the PSR problems should be cleared once the takeover goes through. Thank you, William Friedkin, getting the 94% that are attached. But there's a lot going on with Miazga out. Venezuela's into the quarters. Jamaica is out. And obviously, if you have not had the chance to take a look, then go to the website. Go to soccerdownhere.net. And you can follow along with what Maddie has been able to do. And Maddie has been a writing fool and a content fool. She has been cranking out a lot when it comes to Copa, the U.S. national team, and everything that's going to be happening leading into tonight. So go to soccerdownhere.net. Follow Maddie if you have not on the media that is social at Madison Cruise 7. And you can get links to all of our stuff. Follow us on social media at Soccer Down Here. And the SDH Network has got you covered with everything. I'm doing work with GPB and GPB Sports, just kind of giving like a daily diary. And we'll see what's on GPB's mind when it comes to the match today and how they want it covered today and tomorrow. So keep an eye out on that as well at GPB News, at GPB, at my GPB, and at GPB Sports. And follow me on social media as well when it comes to everything that is going on with the Copa here locally. And we're not, obviously, when they get out of town, we're not going to stop, but it will be, we're going to be cranking out a lot of content. And like I said, tomorrow could be one of the most insane days that we've ever had on the network, seriously. Because we've got Bart coming in at 9 o'clock, batting leadoff to discuss 9:05, to discuss what happens tonight and with the women's national team. Friends from Beyond Goals coming in at 9:30 to discuss things in the Friday free kick. 10 o'clock, it looks like Decatur FC is going to be joining us. I think it's going to be assistant coach Jack Marchant. Big weekend for them in the WPSL. After that, we're going to catch up with our friends at KSA and the UPSL as they get ready for their activity up against Atlanta United's U19s. Jason's on the call for that in the UPSL on Sunday. You can catch that on YouTube, while I'm going to be calling Atlanta United 2 and Inter Miami CF 2. So Messi and Friends 2, Atlanta United 2. That's going to be on the network. Kick is a little after 6 o'clock Sunday night. We'll have pregame show on before that. Just set your notifications for our Mixler site at soccerdownhere.mixler.com. And then after that, where we catch up with KSA at 10:30, Jonathan Mercado, the head coach of Apotheos, is going to be joining us. And he will be letting you know about the big matchup between Apotheos and Appalachian FC. Dale Parker, we're catching up with him later today as a part of the NPSL Southeast Weekly. And so we'll hear from Dale on the weekly show. We'll hear from Mercado live at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Jason will be on after that to break down Atlanta United and Toronto and anything else on his mind. And since it's the last half hour on Thursday, that means we bring in Niko Moreno in Pulso Sports. Niko, my friend, great to see you. Welcome in. Have you had the chance to catch your breath yet about everything that's going on? It is days of our lives. It is Young and the Restless, and it is out of control up there in the Pacific Northwest. Hi.
Hey, John, a well-deserved second cup of coffee because, yes, it's been extremely busy out here in the PNW, specifically within matters of the Seattle Sounders, Long Acres, or the Providence Swedish facility. And it's been a lot between that, trying to watch Copa America, trying to figure out what's going on in MLS in general. I am tired, my man. I am beat.
So since you're there, I saw this pop up on your timeline yesterday. We'll go ahead and talk about it and then get MLS moving. What in the wide world of sports is going on with Raul and Schmetzer and players not being available because of spirited conversations? For those that haven't had the chance to follow you on social media, what is going on in Seattle? Break it down.
Yeah, so it all started per our reports, of course, and sourcing after the Dallas game, which ironically was a fantastic, very powerful 3-2 comeback after the team went down 2 goals in 5 minutes. And the guy who ignited that comeback was Raul Ruidiaz. He had already come in, he was already on the field, but the guy who got the goal after it all kind of fell apart was Raul Ruidiaz. A beautiful header, a header where he is fearless, where he beats a much bigger body to the ball. If you watch that in slow motion, I mean, it's hard to even comprehend how you could come in at that ball at that speed, at that rate, without at least being afraid for your own well-being. So it was a fantastic goal. After that, the team gets some confidence. Jordan Morris gets number 2 and number 3 to give the team the win. But it all falls in that first goal. During that first goal, there is a celebration for Raul Ruidiaz, a gesture where he kind of looks at the bench and he points at his name and he kind of lifts the back of his jersey. So you could see the Ruidiaz in the back and top of that 9 jersey. And so that created some controversy. There was also a moment in the game where Jordan Morris and Raul Ruidiaz get into a little bit of an argument on something. So all of it just kind of felt very odd. It felt like the team was winning, but it felt like there was a lot going on inside the pitch. Then later, per our reports, per our sourcing, there was discussion of some sort between, or that it involved, if I may say so, both Nuhu and Raul. And on Tuesday, both players were not part of training. And obviously that was a little bit odd because both players also didn't stay for the usual ovation to the fans after a win. They went directly into the locker room. So there was a lot of speculations and things of that nature. And I was hoping that it would be addressed, or I thought that it was going to be addressed as a disciplinary action of some sort, but they just called it an internal matter on Tuesday. On Tuesday, it was an internal matter. They were going to provide us detail later down the week. Jeremiah O'Shannon and myself were able to gather enough sourcing to put up a story about the reason of both players not being there and the fact that they were not going to play on Saturday against Chicago. The decision had been made. Initially, maybe I thought that on Tuesday, Brian's reluctance to say, hey, the players have been suspended, maybe had something to do with that decision had not been made, but it looked like that wasn't the case. So we went with the story, we put that out there. And on Wednesday, a very unusual scrum is called by Brian, is called by the Seattle Sounders to clarify the entire deal. Obviously, all triggered by our report that you could find that sounded our heart. And so it got even more odd because Brian called it a coach's decision. He said, or he kind of went around the fact that it wasn't because of an argument and it wasn't because of anything. It was just a coaching decision. So he did a good job at fielding questions. I was talking to other media members about it. I was like, man, he was answering so confidently that I thought he was, just on the ball. Like I thought he was telling us everything that we wanted to know. And then I went back and heard what he said, and he didn't really clarify anything. He kind of made things even more murky. But this is what I think we were trying to clarify, and this is what I've been told. The difference between the suspension is the fact that it is a suspension, but they're effectively suspended, not officially suspended, which means that it's more of a team, or in this case, a coach's decision, and not an MLS type matter. So both players are going to get paid. They're just being isolated from the group. They're practicing individually, and they're not going to be part of Saturday's game. So that's kind of everything in a nutshell. A lot of information. Let me know if you need a recap on anything at all.
No, I mean, that's a lot of moving parts, but at the end of the day, you have two players who are key to the success of the Seattle Sounders who will not be active in the weekend. And it is officially basically coach's decision. You're sitting. You have to couch it, I guess, a certain way for the players union and making sure that
Correct.
you're still going to get paid or anything. It's just I'm pissed. It's a coach's decision. You're sitting. That's basically at the end of the day, that's what we're staring at.
Yeah, even though Brian said, I'm not mad, they're not mad, I'm just sitting them. So, it was that's the part where I was trying to figure out, exactly what the dynamic is. And they're doing a great job at just keeping things internal, right? Stephen Fry talked to us, and he was very, very clear on not adding to the fire. And I think he did a good job at actually highlighting the good things that Raul did. He called the gesture a passionate gesture from a hungry player. Christian, on the other hand, he was a little more straightforward. I was a little surprised. Actually, I was very surprised that right after Brian had just told us, it's not a suspension, it's more of a coaching decision, Christian talked to us, and he was like, yeah, I give credit to Smets for making a decision, and the players are going to we're all supportive of the decision, and they're going to come in and be more bought in. And he called it a suspension on a couple of occasions. So I thought Christian was a little bit more direct when it came to the thing. He said that these sort of situations need to be made an example. Those are pretty tough words, I think, especially when it comes from a teammate. So we'll see how it all plays out. Bottom line here, John, SDH family, is that regardless of how much they say that the locker room is as united as ever, and another surprise for me was Christian calling this the relationship with Raul this year is as healthy as it's ever been, and the group is as healthy and together as it's ever been. I feel like sometimes when you got to say that as many times, maybe I don't know how true that is. Again, I take them by their word, and we've talked about this before, John. We got to take the players by their word, but that dynamic don't seem to be as cohesive as what they're saying, right? There's been issues with Leo coming off the field upset, and there's been problems with who already once this season. He's already been suspended or not being part of a game already once this season. There's been, a lot of things that happened last year with Nicolas Lodero. And I even asked Brian, I said, look, when we first started covering you as a head coach, you had this label as a player's coach. And, sometimes he would take it as a compliment, sometimes maybe not so much. I don't know if maybe he kind of took away from his strategic part of being a coach. Yeah. But I always thought it was great, the fact that he actually did make sure that players were motivated and they were put in positions where they could succeed. But over the last 2 years, there's been some issues. So I asked him, hey, with that said, have you changed anything about your coaching, or what's happened over the last 2 seasons where a lot of these problems have emerged, whether it was with Niko or whether it was with other players. So he kind of said, hey, I'll reflect on it. I'm not sure. I don't think I've changed anything. Maybe I'm a grumpy old man now, so it's a little bit different. So he was, pretty open about it, pretty transparent. But the reality, again, for me, is that there are issues that are being taken care of, but this is really going to test that theory. That's really going to test that theory, because if a player feels like maybe the team is turning their backs on them, or maybe there's factions. I ask this consistently too. It could be factions of players within the locker room, because Christian is best friends with Jordan, has his brother in the team. That could be one faction. You got the Latinos on the other side. You got the Brazilians. I mean, this could kind of make that seem like it could happen. It seemed like that's not the case. It seems like nobody's concerned about it. But this what's going on right now is really going to test the unity of this team, and you're going to be able to see it on their play and whatever happens moving forward.
Because at the same time, and you mentioned this, the more that you say something publicly, there's always going to be that impression that you're trying to convince yourself that that is in fact the case. It's like, yeah, everything's great. Yeah, it's next person. Yeah, everything's great. Third person. Yeah, everything's great. Yeah, and you keep saying the same thing over and over again. You might be trying to convince yourself that everything's great when it may not be.
That is correct. And again, that is my perception. Maybe in the future we'll see if anything emerges and there is a better, there's more proof or moments in which maybe we'll see that that's not true. But for right now, we got to take the players for their word, and both Steph and Christian and even Brian are confident that this team is going to be better after this. And I am not as confident. I don't know. I mean, if I was a player, I feel like I'd feel some sort of way, right? If I got relegated to, being isolated and things. The other question here, and I don't want to take too much of the time, although I guess this is kind of an important matter here. But I didn't get clarity on what pushed Raul kind of over that edge. Because look, Raul this season, he's been asked to do a lot. And he's done it. I think that he's put his ego away. He's been as committed as he's ever been in training. I've heard from Obed Vargas say that this year he saw that Raul was like the first one to training, and he was just so different. He was so committed. When he was asked to be a 10 and play as a 10, although he hates it, and he didn't seem to want to play as a 10, he did it anyway. And he played for the team, and he did a lot of stuff. And although he was relegated in Spain from the number one team, and he didn't seem going into the season like he was going to be the number 9 for this team, he still did the work. There was injury, so he played. He's put up some goals. And over this week, right, where Brian kind of contradicts himself on player management and the reasons why he's put Jordan against a 3-man backline and things, when he repeated Jordan 3 games in a row. And maybe that's what pushed Raul over the edge. It was kind of like, man, I've been breaking my back, and now I don't even get a chance to play on a midweek. I mean, I'm not sure. It's just I'm still trying to figure that out. Brian just said that he just wants more playtime, and that's the reason why he was upset. But I don't know. It was a little bit more than that for a player that has been pretty committed to just being a team player.
We'll get into cliffhanger coming up in just a little bit, but we got to talk about Copa. And, we had Nino Torres from Gold TV on before you this morning. And we were discussing teams in trouble, biggest disappointments, biggest surprises, those kinds of things. As we get toward the end of the group stage, who has been your biggest disappointment so far?
My biggest disappointment is without a doubt Mexico. And I mean disappointment because that's the reality of it. You expect more out of Mexico, even when things are not going great. They seem to have that fight, that grit. He just hasn't been there. And I will say that I kind of told you guys, I mean, going into this Copa, I mentioned the fact that I thought that Mexico was going to flame out in the group stage. And I thought that they were overlooking Venezuela. And Venezuela looked very good yesterday. And they looked very good against Ecuador, regardless of whether Ecuador had one less player, because Ener Valencia decided to introduce his foot to someone's face. That, is not Venezuela's problem. They did their job. They won that game. So Mexico in general, Santi Jimenez he's been given so many chances. I feel like he was overhyped, if I could say so. I understand he's a player that puts in a lot of goals for his club, and he's a guy that everybody wanted on the team, and everybody thought he was going to be the new guy, the new 9, and he just hasn't shown it. Yesterday, one-on-one opportunity, doesn't put it away. You could tell he's frustrated. The body language, the yellow card he gets, everything about Santi Jimenez game told you that he's frustrated. Maybe there's a lot of pressure. Maybe he's the system. I'm not sure, but Lozano definitely has some problems, man. It just hasn't been working. That midfield, I said it here. I said it in other shows. That Mexico's midfield is too soft. There's no take. There's not a player that's going to be able to recuperate the ball and defend and push and grind without Alvarez, who's out for the remainder of the tournament. That's a huge blow for Mexico. And then you saw the importance of Montes once he was out as well in this game. So there's just a problem with that player pool. It's as poor as it's ever been, in my opinion. There is a lot of expectations for a team that, again, their problems are far beyond this group and this coach. It's about a federation. It's about infrastructure that's not there. So they're my biggest disappointment.
All right. Before we get into cliffhanger, one other topic that has popped into my head, because that's just kind of how we are. San Diego, we mentioned Chucky Lozano, but now there is talk that it might be Bob Bradley that would be the leader in the clubhouse to take over San Diego. And I imagine he's going to want the keys to the car in addition to just coaching on the touchline. I also imagine that it means that Michael is probably going to be an assistant here. Are you hearing anything about what's going on in San Diego and who might be named as the big boss?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a candidate. He's one that I had to go check out because, honestly, I didn't quite believe it when I first heard it. Not that there's anything wrong with Bob. And he's a guy that has done it with expansion team with LAFC. He's a guy that is a very good coach. He's a little bit spicy on the side, but he definitely is a coach that has been there, done that. So, but I still didn't feel like it fit. It seemed like Pio Herrera seemed to be a candidate that made a lot of sense for that team. And now that there's so many coaches out of the job in Lucci and Steves, maybe that pool of interviews might get a little bit bigger. But all I've heard is that Bob is definitely one of the main candidates for the job.
All right, cliffhanger. It's that time. All right, make sure that you are properly hydrated, that you've got all your thoughts in your head when it comes to the matchups coming up this weekend. And we do have our interesting batch, as always. Since you were on your second cup of coffee, it starts on Friday night with NYC and the Purple Team. And basically is the way that for anyone who is new to this, I just keep going. And then when Niko wants to stop, he just interrupts me and he starts talking about it. We'll save Atlanta and Toronto for last. Because, this is where we're based. Montreal and Philadelphia, two teams in trouble. Revs and Crew are favored on the road in Foxborough at a plus 114. New England have found
interesting. That's an interesting one, simply because the Revs have found it. What was lost, what was missing, what was not there. Carlos Hill and Brioni especially has really come out and been a spark for this team. He's been that finisher that they were probably lacking. Even Javier Arriaga, former Seattle Sounder, was part of the ideal 11 or match day 11 this week because he's been doing very well. He's found his feet. He's found some consistency within that back line. Do I think they're going to be able to give it to Columbus? No, I don't. I think Columbus might set them straight, but that's going to be an interesting one. What is the goals on that?
All right, so let's find out what the total is and the over-unders. And then that is always something that Niko likes to investigate in these situations. Over-under at 2.5 is a minus 187. 3.5 is a plus 133. So that's where it flips at 3.5.
Oh, I like 3.5. I like 3.5, and I like Columbus on this one. It kind of bit me last week in that RSL LA Galaxy game. I thought that it was going to be a high-scoring game, and it was nothing close to that. But I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time. I'm going to put some juice boxes on.
All right. Red Bulls hosting DC United. They're a big favorite at a minus 204. This one's interesting. FC Dallas at home hosting FC Cincinnati. Matt Miazga out for the year. Nick Hagland out for at least 8 weeks plus recovery time because of a broken fibula.
That's an interesting one. What are the numbers on that?
Dallas is a plus 154, slightly favored at home. FC Cincinnati on the road is a dog at a plus 159. Your draw's a plus 254. This one is intriguing to me.
Yeah, I think a draw could be the best or the safest bet on that one. I found Dallas interesting, man. That the way they played Seattle, I mean, they didn't really do much when it came to controlling the tempo of the game, but I thought that they were very selective on counter moments, and they exploited some of the issues that, or they kind of took what Seattle gave them in terms of mistakes. So can they do it in this one? Can they play as compact as they did against Seattle early? Maybe a 1-1 on this one could be what I could see, because yes, Cincinnati, they have all the tools, they have all the components, they have a very good base in general, but no Miazga. I know what is the other center back that got hurt for them as well?
You had Nick Hagland, who's out.
Yeah. Yep, Nick Hagland. There's no Robinson. I mean, this is a team that's going to be in dire need in that back end. It's probably going to be Powell. Probably going to be some Jetlin in there trying to fill those spaces. So I think this could be a draw. I like the draw in this one.
Houston's hosting Charlotte. They're a favorite at a -128. Nashville's hosting Messi and Friends at a -111. They just seem to find ways to win. Doesn't matter where they are, but Messi and Friends always seem to find a way to come out on top. They're at a +271, by the way, on the road in Nashville.
They're a +271?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, I would take that bet. I really would. There's nothing out of Nashville that scares you. Even when Mukhtar's on, even when Serge is on, like you said, this team believes, and we've seen it happen with, it doesn't matter who's in there. And whether it's with 9 players, with 11 players on the field, whether it's the young guys, whether it's Campana, I mean, this team has really shown you that with Tata Martino and a team that believes that it can win every game, yeah, I'll take this one all day.
Sporting favorite at home against Austin at a -127. LAFC is a -200 hosting Colorado, who's north of +455.
I want nothing to do with that game. Absolutely not. Odds are not favorable. And then Colorado's a team that can be a little bit of a coin flip, and maybe they find it. And maybe Navajo with a new contract is feeling real good, and maybe puts one on LAFC. Maybe they draw. This is a hard one to really look at, to be honest. I wouldn't put no money on it.
Over there.
Reason would tell you that LAFC should win this one, but it's one of those that could easily flip on you and cost you some juice boxes.
No doubt. Portland favored at home against Minnesota United. San Jose fires Luchi Gonzalez. They are a dog at home to LAG. LAG is a +142. So a favorite on the plus side on the road for Cali Classico.
What's the over-under on that one? Because
right.
The Galaxy are going to win that one.
Yeah. So your totals for over-under, 2.5 -263, 3.5 a -104. They're anticipating goals. 4.5 is a +209.
Oh, no, I don't like it. And look, maybe going against the belief that, as they say in Latin America, new coach always wins, or debuting coach always puts it together. Maybe San Jose can pull up a draw. I just don't see a team that has given up 50+ goals this season to be able to handle a real synchronized, real well-oiled machine that is Joveljic, Pencil, Peck, and Fagundes now. Because Fagundes has been doing fantastic with this team. So, I think that's a tough one. I wouldn't put any of my juice boxes there, but I think LA Galaxy will get past the theory that a new coach kind of puts it together, gives you a bump. Too much talent for this LA Galaxy team.
Whitecaps favored at home against All Caps. So it's -123 for Vancouver hosting St. Louis City SC. That leaves us with 2 matches. Seattle's a big favorite at a -161 with Chicago coming to town. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Seattle has to show it on the field. I mean, we just talked about this novella, right? This mini series that's been this week of Sounders training. So can they put it together? Chicago is a very beatable team, regardless of at times maybe showing you a little things here and there. But I don't think that there's nothing about Chicago that Seattle can't handle. I think this is the most favorable matchup that Seattle has gotten at home, even over Dallas, even over some other teams that they've had at home. So they should get out here and win this one. But if they don't, that's going to be a big blow. It's going to be a big blow, but I expect Jordan Morris to be ignited as well by this whole thing, right? He's got to show that, I understand that things are going on, but I'm gonna I'm heating up. I'm scoring goals. I'm working hard. Pedro de la Vega will feature in this one. Finally, he's gonna be in the bench. Alex Roldan is back from and beyond past concussion protocol, so he'll be back. Meaning Christian will be back up on the wing. So there are some things working for Seattle. But then again, how much of a distraction has this been? How can they put it together? That's going to be an interesting one. But Seattle should win that, no problem.
Last one on the board, Atlanta hosting Toronto. 4 points on the road last week, winning in D.C. in what was just one of the ugliest looking pitches we've seen in quite some time. And then getting a point out of all caps at St. Louis City SC and at City Park. So 4 points in 2, 5 points in 3. Now they're hosting Toronto, and they're a big favorite at a -135. Toronto's north of +300.
Yeah, especially this Toronto, man. They look so interesting. They seem to have it figured out, and they just kind of crumbled. That 3-0 against Red Bulls did not look good. And Atlanta, in their own way, it hasn't been brilliant, and it hasn't been spectacular, but they have been able to add points. They have been able to get a little bit of momentum. Maybe not second gear, third gear, but at least a first gear movement towards somewhere. I feel like they've done that. I know that there's been a lot of talk around Thiago Almada. As far as I know, there's nothing really set yet. There's no formal decision has been made. I know there's been reporting saying the opposite, but as far as I know, he's still part of this team. I feel like he knows and understands exactly what he needs to do with this team. It's going to be interesting. But defensively, man, Atlanta, they have this bend, don't break type of thing going on right now that could be a little bit dangerous against Toronto. But I have faith. I have faith in Atlanta. I think they'll pull the win.
All right, what's going on at Soccer Bar and Pulso Sports? You're a very, very busy man.
Yes, I mean, if you want a background on everything that I talked about for the first 25 minutes of this show, you can go find the voices of Christian Roldan, Brian Smetzer, and here in Soccer Bar in about 45 minutes, we're going to get deep dive on that as well, all in Spanish. We're going to go a little more into Copa, which we didn't get a chance to do so here. I am very happy and very motivated with Colombia. I think that this could be their year. They didn't have a perfect game against Paraguay, but they got the win. So we'll see how they track going. They play Costa Rica tomorrow. So I think Colombia could definitely put their foot into the next round tomorrow, and then hopefully they continue to play as well as they have. They get Brazil on Tuesday. That's going to be a good one, a Brazil team that couldn't break down Costa Rica. So if Colombia can break down Costa Rica, it'll be a good sign of where Colombia can go.
And we'll see if Hamas can keep dropping dimes like he did last year.
Nasty. That delivery into the box, baby. It doesn't matter who it is. Munoz closing out, or whether it is why is it escaping me? The midfielder for Colombia. Well, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. Colombia definitely has great services into the box. And Luis Diaz, I mean, he's been fantastic. He's been inspired. He looks good. He's so hard to get off the ball. There's a play within this game against Paraguay where he takes on like 3 defenders and still puts a great ball in. So it's a encouraging side of Colombia that has a lot of weapons coming off the bench. They're very solid defensively. I'm not a Jerry Mina guy. I will admit that. So I'm hoping that they change that up because he was kind of brought in because of an injury, hoping that they kind of modify that. But yeah, Colombia looks good.
Yeah, it was. We were all watching it, and we're sitting there looking at the dime that he dropped, and we're like, "Yo!" And everybody's going, "Well, where is that hummus been, man?" I mean, you had Munoz and Jefferson Lerma. Those were the
Lerma, Jefferson Lerma. Yes, that's the second goal. Yeah, I mean, that's typical James. James could be in the gutters when it comes to a club team. He puts on that Columbia jersey and he turns it to a whole different man. I mean, he is everywhere. He's passionate. He's magical. I do feel like they need to be a little more serious at times. I feel like a couple of transition moments didn't go their way against Paraguay because they got a little too cheeky. And as much as Colombians love the flair, we also like results, guys. So let's go ahead and put it together. Let's play straightforward. Maybe after a couple of goals, we can get a little cheekier. But come on, let's put it together.
man wants to focus. He wants to get out of the group stage and into the knockouts. Go to your next gig, my friend. We will catch up with you again next week. We'll talk Copa and MLS as we always do. Great to see you on a Thursday.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
That's Niko on his second cup of coffee. And so remember, top of the hour, he's got more stuff to talk about. So follow him at El Rolo and W on the 280 character app. This was a sprint this morning. And if you thought this morning was out of control, tomorrow, once again, here's the rundown. Bart Kaylor off the top to talk about what's happening tonight at Mercedes-Benz, plus the women's national team roster announcement. No Alex Morgan. Then anticipated our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring to discuss what's going on in the Friday Free Kick and what it's been like for them here in the offseason as they get geared up for the next late summer, early fall, and their next sprint with everything that is going on when it comes to mentoring. And next time Michael Parkhurst is on, I want to discuss about getting past that moment, getting through that brick wall because of what we've seen with Rhode Island FC the last couple of matches. 10 o'clock. Looks like we're going to catch up with folks. Jack Marchand will be later today. So Jack Marchand will be on the league show. We're catching up with Jack to find out about Decatur FC. So Decatur FC scheduled for 10 o'clock. After that, we'll talk to our friends at KSA as they get ready for the UPSL title that they're chasing after on Sunday. And Jason will have the call on that with Atlanta United and KSA in the UPSL. So then 10:30, John Mercado, head coach at Apotheos, is going to join us to discuss their big matchup with App FC that's going to happen this weekend. Jared will be on the call for that on Saturday night at Silverbacks Park. And then Jason joins after John Mercado to discuss what's going on with Atlanta United, Major League Soccer, and anything else on his mind. So let me see if I've got this right. Copa America, women's national team, then it's Beyond Goals, then it's the WPSL, then it's the UPSL, then it's the NPSL, then it's Major League Soccer. All of that tomorrow on the show. We will be flying. Thanks to Kaylor Hodges for dropping by at the USL show on the 280 character app. You can buy the scarf. You can buy the Hammer Down Pod jersey from our friends at Olive and York. You can help fund their journey later in the month of July out to Oakland. And that'll be a fun trip. And we'll catch up with Kaylor and find out how that went the next time that he's on the show, I think on the 25th of July. That's the last Thursday, because after that it would be the 32nd, which means it's August 1st, and that means that that's a new month. So thanks to Kaylor Hodges. Thanks to Nino Torres for joining us from Lima, Peru, and discussing what's going on in Copa America and getting his perspective. You can follow him at all of his calls on Gold TV, and he'll be back with us again next Thursday at 10 o'clock as well. And as always, it's great to catch up with Niko. Great to catch up with you. Go through all the news of the day in a sprint that is 2 hours long. And we are going to catch our breath before we head downtown and hang out with all the traffic and hang out with about 70,000 of you as the United States takes on Panama tonight in the Copa America. Looking forward to it and looking forward to seeing everybody. Looking forward to getting all the info and the intel and talking about it tomorrow with Bart Kaylor from the Soccer for You SPOD. So that is another go-round of soccer down here on the SDH Network on Soccer's Morning Show. Back in a little less than 22 to talk about all that stuff and all those leagues, because this is the summer of soccer here on the SDH Network. Happy birthday to the boss. She's 39. I will always be older than the boss when it comes to mentions. So happy birthday to the boss. You saw what she did for me. And I don't think I could quite do the same thing for her office space, considering it's the part of the upstairs build here in the house. So Thanks a lot for everybody. Thanks for all of you guys. We'll be back in a little less than 22 to talk about it on Friday, on a very packed Friday. Bunch of different leagues here on SDH. Since it is the end of the show, that means that I get to do this once I find it. Here we go.